everyone, it's time again for another Willie's Ramblings and Pickup video. Well, this week I went up to Indiana. I had some business up there on the naval base. Imagine that, a naval base in the middle of Indiana. Kind of interesting. But I visited a couple game stores up there. I visited K&M Video Games, which is located in Washington, Indiana. And then I visited a store called Super Mega Replay. That's down in Evansville, Indiana. Now, the Super Mega Replay is kind of like a secondhand shop. It's not kind of like a pawn shop, but not a pawn shop. Had all kinds of different things in there, but they had quite a few video games. So I made some pickups there, and also made some pickups up at the K&M games as well. So I also made a really cool Craigslist score. I think a couple weeks ago. Yeah, it was after I made my video last weekend. I found this item on a Craigslist that I picked up last weekend. And it was a Sears Super Video Arcade and television. Awesome. Works really well. Now what's nice about this one is it has the controllers that detach like the Intellivision 2, but these controllers are much better than the Intellivision 2. So I was pretty happy to get a hold of this. And it came with some other items as well. I've got the owner's manual with it. That's cool. Also came with a voice module, which doesn't want to work on this Intellivision. It works on my System 3 Intellivision, no problem, but this one, it don't want to work. I don't know if it's a compatibility problem or what. So I want to ask my buddies over at the Intellivisionaries what they know about it, because they know Intellivision a lot better than I do. Now the games I got with it, which I'm not going to show in gameplay up here, because I've shown these before, so I don't like to repeat games that I've already picked up. But it came with a complete box of B-17 bomber. I know that joke gets old. And it came with a boxed bomb squad. Not one, but two bomb squads. Kind of interesting to have two of the same game. Came with Space Armada. Space Invaders. Came with a Space Hawk. Kind of fun game. And also came with a sealed, what is this? Space Spartans. That's awesome. I guess Space Spartans is kind of like Intellivision's version of Star Raiders. It is a lot of fun to play. It's a good game. And what's really interesting? Check this out. The price tag on this. Revco, 50 cents. That's too funny. Like to know where this was back then. But also in the box that all this came in was a very interesting little manual that I couldn't find any information about online at all. It's a manual for a game for the keyboard component called Geography Challenge. And what's neat is right here on the page you can see it's showing the keyboard component for the Intellivision. Like I said, I've not seen this manual online at all. I've been searching to see if anybody has this on there. So I plan on scanning this manual in and giving it to the Intellivision people to update their database and everything like that. So I thought that was a pretty cool find. I called the guy back. I said, do you happen to have a large brown looking thing with the keyboard on it and a big hole in the middle? I was like, no. Dang, that would be awesome if I could have got the keyboard component as well. But I got all that for $40, so not a bad deal at all. So now let's move on to my other pickups for my collection. I picked up a game called Tracks for my Game Boy. It's basically a shooting game. Not a vertical shooter like an all-direction shooter where you got a tank, you hold the B button down to rotate the turn around, and then A button fires. You have power-ups you can get, and you basically just run this little tank all over the place, shooting enemies, getting power-ups, trying to get a high score. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy this game. Next, I picked up for my Atari 2600. I offered this to Ferg first for a 2600 Game by Game podcast, but he already had one, so I picked it up for myself. It is Pete Rose Baseball for the Atari 2600. It was 99 cents. That's cool. It's not too bad of a baseball game. The graphics are pretty good for an Atari 2600 game. Don't like the controls too much. You basically have to hit your action button or your fire button and then move your joystick one of four directions or whatever to select what outfielder you want to activate to go after the ball. If you select the wrong outfielder, you can't get to the ball because they have like a zone they have to stay within. It's like, what? So you can actually have the ball land close to one outfielder, but he can't drop far enough down on the screen to get the ball. So you got to take the guy way over here to come across and get the ball. Makes the game a little hard. But all in all, it's a fun game. It's pretty good. And I did notice, I guess the way they did these extra graphics is if you look down the end of the slot right here, you can see a little chip. There we go. See a little chip down in there. That's an extra chip added to that motherboard, the little circuit board in there. That's probably to give it the enhanced graphics, like CBS did with their RAM Plus cartridges. So that's kind of cool. Absolute Entertainment by Alex DeMeo. Next thing I picked up was for my Sega CD, and it was Formula One Beyond the Limit. Not too bad of a racing game. I can't drive with a darn in this thing. But it does have some awesome music that plays in the intro screen and stuff, and while you're selecting your options for your car. Really good soundtrack. Controllability, not so much. I find in racing games, I've become spoiled using analog joysticks and stuff to control the race cars and everything. So when I go back to using the D-pad or something like that for a racing game, I don't do so well anymore. But it's still a good game. Not bad. And then also picked up, this was cheap, $1.99. I picked up Hang On for the Sega Saturn, motorcycle racing game, and same problem. I play these a lot better with an analog joystick than I do with a D-pad. It's not too bad of a racing game. It's got some really good graphics. It's not too bad. The main reason why I picked this game up was because the case is pristine. So a lot of times when I find Saturn games with pristine cases that are really cheap, I'll pick them up to replace some of my other cases that are broke in my collection. This one I'm probably not going to keep because I like the Max T Superbike game on the Sega Saturn. So this one might go into a Retroist junk box next time I do that, or I might send it off to a buddy of mine that collects Sega Saturn. So I'm on the fence on that one. And the last game I picked up for my Sega Saturn collection was Alien Trilogy. This is an awesome game. It's a lot of fun. I've got the PlayStation version as well, but it seems the Sega Saturn version plays a little bit more smoothly, and the graphics seem to be just a little bit better, which is kind of interesting. It's a really fun game. It's not bad at all. By Fox Interactive. I'm fighting off another cold, if you can't tell. So that's all the game pickups for this week. Next week, I'm heading up to Virginia, and there's a couple stores up there I like to hit. Video Game Heaven. There's two of them up there. And I did a video on their stores last time I was in Norfolk for Gamerspots.com. And they get a lot of neat things in their stores. That's actually where I found that Gyromite cartridge that has the Famicom adapter inside for $3 because I didn't realize it was in there. So I know I get a lot of strange looks when I go into video game stores. I'll go to the NES rack and I'll start looking for Gyromites and other games I know they have the Famicom adapter in them. I'll be picking them up, looking down inside the slot. And I always get the person telling me, "Ah, we cleaned all those games. They work fine." Yeah, I know that, but I don't care about that. I'm looking for the offset pin that tells me there's a Famicom adapter in there. But I don't say that. So anyway, thanks for watching.